Say when.
When?
Delicious! Eddie, my own, has found us. As long as Venom lives, everything will end.
We may not make it out of this alive, Letty.
Eddie, the time has come.
Venom, The Last Dance.
Now that's horsepower!
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. A new Venom: The Last Dance trailer was just released featuring another new symbiote. There's a ton of questions as to which one it's going to be. Some people thought it was Toxin. Some people thought it was another symbiote from the comics. Tom Holland is posting pictures of himself for a secret project he's getting ready to film, going into full spoiler bros mode. I know there's a ton of questions about what's going on with Spider-Man 4 right now. What about the future of the Venom character? Because this first Venom 3 trailer had so many Spider-Man references in it, the rumored storyline last year also had a lot of multiverse craziness involving Spider-Man references and Easter eggs from different eras of Spider-Man. Like, what is Rhys Ifans doing in this trailer? We just saw him during Spider-Man No Way Home as a version of his Lizard from the Amazing Spider-Man movies. Supposedly there's even like a young version of Peter Parker in this movie, this character here, a version of Aunt May. What is going on here? We're supposed to be in the Venom universe during most of this movie. So we'll break it all down. Marvel and Sony have even updated Spider-Man 4. It does look like it's going to take advantage of what's happening with the multiverse craziness between Avengers 5 Doomsday with that Robert Downey Jr. Doctor Doom and Secret Wars, as opposed to the more ground level Spider-Man that we thought we were getting the last couple of years. So I'll talk about that later in the video. Just starting with the new trailer footage. So in this new Venom 3 trailer, it picks up directly after the events of Spider-Man No Way Home's post-credit scene after he's been teleported back to the Venom universe by Doctor Strange's second spell. So this is him in Mexico. That was why he was wearing the Mexico hat at the end of Venom Let There Be Carnage, to let you know where he was. Like, he fled to the beach down in Mexico, then stumbled into his hotel room, got teleported to the MCU by the first Doctor Strange Spider-Man spell. Then inside the MCU, he just stumbled to the hotel bar at the hotel he was at in the MCU, talked to the Ted Lasso bartender, and then left a piece of the symbiote being teleported back to the Venom universe. So when he's stumbling down the street, like he's just stumbled out of the hotel in the Venom universe, it's the same hotel, just back in his own universe. And it seems like the Venom symbiote has spawned again inside the Venom universe, and that's what Orwell Taylor is capturing here. Like, this isn't taking place in the Spider-Man No Way Home universe, it's inside the Venom universe, and it's the same bartender, he's just a slightly different Venom universe version of that same bartender. Most people will recognize him from his previous MCU Marvel movies as Baron Mordo across the multiverse in multiple different universes. In this movie, he's just supposed to be Orwell Taylor from the Venom comics. During those stories, he's a former general whose son was killed by Venom. He vows revenge and puts together a team that he calls the Jury, which is the team you see in this movie going after Venom with all that gear. Based on the way the trailer plays out, it looks like they adapted some of his story from Lethal Protector from this. They adapted some of Lethal Protector for the first Venom movie as well. But it sounds like his son was killed in the fight between Venom and Carnage in the previous movies, so that's the part of his story they're adapting, giving him his motivation for wanting to go after Venom. It also seems like after the events of Venom Let There Be Carnage, Detective Patrick Mulligan was infected by the toxin symbiote. There were some questions about that at the end of that movie, like, why are his eyes glowing? Is that because he got the toxin symbiote? He's the offspring of the Carnage symbiote, just like the comics. And when the authorities were cleaning up the aftermath of that battle at the end of that movie, Orwell Taylor probably just came in and captures Toxin into custody. During the trailer, it sounds like Patrick Mulligan is speaking with Toxin voice.
As long as Venom lives, everyone, everything will end.
The way they accomplish that, for instance, Tom Hardy does the Venom voice, they just process it a lot. They did the same thing for Carnage with Woody Harrelson's voice, so I'm assuming they're doing the same thing for Toxin's voice here. And in the scene, it's Toxin telling Orwell Taylor and Juno Temple, who I think is Patricia Robertson from the comics. She was an army lieutenant who also gets the Scream symbiote. And Toxin is telling them they need to stop Venom or else it means the end of the human race. Like, Venom is the threat to planet Earth. They need to stop. In the comics, Patricia Robertson was actually after Venom for a similar type of event. Like, she thought that Venom was going to destroy the entire world. But in the newest version of this trailer they just dropped, while Toxin is giving that same warning from the previous trailer, they mixed the voiceover with what seems like footage of a totally new symbiote that's green, like completely different symbiote. It still seems like it's inside the same military cells that Toxin is in, and even though they cut the footage to make it seem like it's saying that warning to them, it's a couple totally different scenes just cut together. They do that all the time in all kinds of Marvel trailers. I think what's actually happening in this green symbiote scene is that it's just greeting them like, oh, hello, I'm still alive. And it might be part of some test where they're giving these different symbiotes that you see to other people, like just performing tests on them. There are a lot of people who saw this trailer and assumed that it was going to be Toxin, but it would be a huge change, so I don't think that it's actually Toxin. In the comics, if you haven't read any of them, he looks vastly different. Because he's the offspring of Carnage, he mostly looks red with a little bit of black, because he's also the grandson of the Venom symbiote. There have been a bunch of different depictions of him based on who's drawing him in the comics, but they all adhere to the same basic color style, mostly red with a little bit of black. This guy here is very clearly a deep green color. The biggest green symbiote that we know about who's involved in the stories they're adapting for these movies is Lasher. He was featured during the Orwell Taylor Lethal Protector storyline that they're adapting part of for this movie. In a completely separate comic, the Lasher symbiote also gets bonded by the military to a war dog and used as a weapon. So Orwell Taylor might try something like that during this movie. There's a lot of other venomized animals that we see, but that's like a completely separate situation where like he venomizes the horse. There was even a venomized frog that we got a preview of, so apparently we'll see a venomized frog somewhere in the movie. Keep in mind that Orwell Taylor looks like he's captured multiple symbiotes, so that's why I think they might try to use some of the symbiotes against Venom to capture Venom. Maybe Juno Temple's character is just experimenting on them. It seems like she's in charge of all the research that they're doing on the symbiotes here. So that might be where this green symbiote comes from, like them just experimenting on a test subject inside a cell, like, is this person going to survive? Can we use this as a weapon? They did something similar during the first movie with the Life Foundation when they tried bonding symbiotes to random hosts to learn how they worked, but in their case, most of the test subjects were eventually consumed by the symbiotes because they fed on them parasitically. It was meant to set up the twist of the bond between Venom and Eddie Brock, who achieve symbiosis, wait for it, talking about symbiotes here. In the trailers, we also see Juno Temple looking like she gets one of the symbiotes infecting her, so it's also possible that they turn her into Scream during the movie, just like her comic book character became Scream. Part of the idea with the Toxin symbiote, though, is that in the comics, he becomes more of an anti-hero through the positive influence of Patrick Mulligan, who does want to be a good person, like become a superhero of sorts. It sounds like that's what they're trying to do in this movie, like he's trying to help them stop Venom because both Patrick Mulligan and the Toxin symbiote think that Venom is the real threat to Earth, like we need to stop him or else that's it. It's not totally clear why, like maybe the Venom symbiote has been spawning multiple times and they're worried that it'll turn into a Planet of the Symbiotes type of endgame where the entire world gets venomized. But it seems like, based on the actual trailer footage, that the real villain is going to be the Xenophage, these creatures here, which are way worse. In the trailer, Venom tells Eddie that his home has found them, and separately in other scenes, he tells them this is probably the end for them, like this is it, aka this is the last dance for us. Early theory, what might be happening is that the Xenophage find Earth, or they follow the trail of the previous symbiotes that came to Earth somehow. They begin to go after them, and the Earth just becomes collateral damage with a bunch of people dying. Within the Venom lore, the Xenophage are basically a predator race to the symbiotes from their home planet. You remember when Venom consumed the Carnage symbiote, basically eating its own child, RIP, the Xenophage do that to the symbiotes on the regular, like they snack on symbiotes all the time. Early theory that the arc of the movie is Venom and Eddie having to convince Orwell Taylor, Toxin, the other symbiotes, to band together to help them stop the Xenophage, but most of the symbiotes probably wind up being killed off or being sacrificed themselves. Just as a way to explain why there aren't a ton of symbiotes running around the Venom universe version of Earth. Keep in mind, this is not the MCU. Speaking of which, the future of Venom, Eddie Brock, Tom Hardy is supposed to continue as the Venom character. They're just not doing more Venom solo movies, so he's just going to appear in other people's movies. Supposedly, Kevin Feige, based on the way he's talked about it, makes it sound like Secret Wars is going to be one of those places. But I know there's a bunch of questions about him showing up in Spider-Man 4 now, because reportedly the whole plot of Spider-Man 4 has changed in the last year because they moved the movie, and now it's supposed to come out July 2026, which is right after Avengers 5 Doomsday and before Avengers 6 Secret Wars. Part of the idea of those movies is that essentially they're collapsing the entire multiverse. Like the multiverse will be destroyed by the end of Avengers 5 Doomsday and combined into a single reality with a single world, aka kind of like Battle World from the comics. So that when Avengers 6 Secret Wars picks up, you have all these multiverse characters that survived on a single world together, forming a multiverse Avengers team to stop the God Emperor Doom, played by Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom. This is probably why they waited to give Tom Holland's Spider-Man the actual symbiote, because they knew they were going to be doing the movie so close to Secret Wars. Like, why don't we just move it here so we can actually have it be more like the comics way that he got the symbiote? Originally in the comics, they didn't call it the symbiote though, it was just called the alien costume. Later comics retconned that to actually be the Venom symbiote. But you can kind of see the path forward with Tom Holland getting the actual symbiote. When they were still trying to release Spider-Man 4 in 2025, supposedly it was going to be a more ground-level story with Kingpin being one of the bigger villains, Daredevil crossing over, like street-level, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man kind of movie, back to basics. It sounds like now they want it to be more of like a big multiverse movie, taking advantage of everything that's happening with Avengers 5 and Avengers 6. So anything is possible now. Like, it is totally possible that Venom does have some kind of cameo scene at the end of this new Spider-Man 4 movie. Whatever we wind up learning about Spider-Man 4 in the next couple of months, of course I will do videos about it, because if they do want to release it in July 2026, they have to start pretty soon. As for Tom Holland's Spoiler Bros post of him posting this secret project he's getting ready to film, I don't actually think it's for a Spider-Man related project. I think he's gotten pretty good about not actually spoiling that stuff on purpose. Most of the stuff he's actually spoiled the last couple of years, like the more recent stuff, has been planned plants by the studio, like just marketing disguised to look like spoilers. Just because anytime he posts anything Spider-Man related, people go crazy. So the studio uses that to the benefit of the movies to help market the movies. Usually when something actually gets spoiled, it's from like a brand new person or like someone really low on the food chain, like not one of the big actors, because they do get fined a ton of money if they actually spoil stuff. So none of them want to lose their giant bonuses because they accidentally spoil stuff. But if you spotted any other Easter eggs or references in the new trailer footage that I didn't talk about in the video, write them below in the comments. We'll probably get another really big Venom trailer in the next month or so, because the movie's coming out pretty soon. There's a bunch of big stuff coming up. I just posted another video for the Deadpool and Wolverine Thor deleted scene and what's going on with that, like why is Thor crying? And speaking of Deadpool Green Lantern jokes, click here to learn about the new Green Lantern in James Gunn's DCU. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.